Hello everyone. So Tesla shares closed at 165.08 today. So we'll be there for the weekend, up 1.28% on the day. And I got a couple updates on things I was covering this morning. I watched Electrified with Dylan Loomis, and he kind of pointed out that I should clarify a little bit on this chart here for the ARK Invest price target, their assumptions and inputs for autonomous ride hail, the percentage of their simulations indicating the first year of Tesla's Robotaxi commercialization, and is not necessarily percent chance. Well, it could be what they're thinking, the percent chance of autonomous Robotaxis commercialization happening, but it could be completely wrong for sure. They're just probabilities, and their price targets were based on these simulations where Robotaxi commercialization happens in 2023, 2024 or beyond. But they did even put in their estimates, without solving it, what their expectations were. However, I think I still would take these as probabilities of solving autonomous driving and being able to have robotaxis on the road. I was thinking a little bit more about this as I read through this document a little further, and I had an idea that was new to me pop into my mind and wanted to share with you guys. So robotaxis may not necessarily require full self-driving capability that works everywhere all the time. That's kind of how my thinking's been going so far. They got to solve the whole thing. However, thinking about a robotaxi that's like an Uber with no driver, they could implement this without having to completely solve every use case of driving in the world. If you think about a taxi or an Uber, they don't necessarily have to operate in every and all conditions. The car just needs to be able to drive on the road, pull over to the side, and pick somebody up. So you can eliminate some of those tough cases I've seen on YouTube videos where the car has struggles in a parking lot because it's complicated. I think it was Matt Posius said he won't even use it in a parking lot. Well, you could still have a useful robotaxi that doesn't necessarily have to go into a parking lot. If you're just on the road close to the parking lot of the destination that the rider wants to get to, well, yeah, maybe they have to walk an extra 100 meters to get to the front door of the location, but it's close enough. It's like a bus. Like, buses are still useful, but they don't pull into parking lots that often. I guess they do sometimes, but for picking up and dropping off passengers, a lot of the times they just pull over to the side of the road. So I could see, a scenario where a robotaxi, they haven't solved full self-driving for every single use case, but they've solved it well enough that it can be commercialized, and Tesla can start making money from robotaxis in certain areas and maybe certain times. Like, so maybe, solving it in winter in Canada, that might come down the line. But there's plenty of places in the world where there is no winter, including St. Kitts and Nevis, where I am right now. So you don't have to worry about winter driving, and completely solving full self-driving for every scenario you can imagine. It could potentially just start working in the summer months initially, and maybe as time goes on, they solve it for winter driving as well. Let me know what you guys think of that. That's just an idea that came to me today and makes me think, yeah, it's fully autonomous vehicles or robotaxis, which is a huge part of ARK Invest's price target, are maybe closer than we think. And it doesn't necessarily involve fully solving autonomous driving in every scenario you can imagine. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. Now, another one that I learned a little more about that I've already touched on, this new Model Y rear-wheel drive that came out in Canada. So we got an article from Inside EVs here. I was thinking maybe they're doing this because there's limited batteries, which may be the case, but there's another thing here that I think also highlights why Tesla is doing this, and it's below the headline here. It opens the door for incentives for the entire Model Y family being under the price cap for the incentives in Canada. So because there's a Model Y now that's priced under 60,000 Canadian, it's 59,990, so just under that cap. It makes all the Model Ys potentially qualify for the incentive in Canada, the $5,000 Canadian incentive. The performance model doesn't qualify because it's too expensive, but the Model Y long range will now qualify as well for the incentive in Canada. So maybe this is the reason behind Tesla's introduction of this rear-wheel drive model for Canada. An only rear-wheel drive model of a Tesla is not the optimum for Canada. Even though I had a rear-wheel drive Model S and I was happy to drive it in winter, I just put my winter tires on and I was happy with it. I could see them selling some of these in Canada because it does make a much lower price point to get into a Model Y in Canada, and qualifying for that $5,000 incentive puts the price around 55,000 Canadian plus taxes, so makes a Model Y a little more reachable for more Canadians. So be interesting to see if they start delivering these in Canada. So yeah, those are just a couple updates I wanted to make on some topics that I already touched on today. Curious to know what you guys think about my thoughts on full self-driving there. That's it was a new thought for me, and I think I might be onto something there. They don't have to solve every single scenario you can imagine for autonomous driving to deploy it. Maybe they can deploy it in certain areas, and maybe it won't go into parking lots initially or something along those lines, but you will be able to get a Robotaxi from Tesla sooner because of that. Let me know what you guys think. So that's my evening update there. Might do one more video today for you guys, but I'll leave it there for now. My name's Evan Bertrand. This is the Evergreen channel. Subscribe if you like by clicking on the wheel, and thanks for watching.